Hello and welcome back. So here we are in our product research spreadsheet. So this is what we're going to be using to help us find a selection of products, just so we can kind of brainstorm ideas. Now, when we come out of these kind of 20 product ideas at the end, we're not necessarily going to import every single one into our store straight away. We're just going to use this as a way to kind of get used to looking for products and sourcing them from different websites. So let's just take a look at what we've got here. So here we've got the product, and then we've got the source, which is going to be whether it's Amazon or Wish, basically where we've seen that product. And then we're going to tick the boxes that we talked about in our previous video. So is it hard to find in stores? Is it hard to guess the price? Does it solve a problem? Can you buy it without much research? Is it less than $25? So those are the main areas that we're going to be looking at in green. But then we've got some other categories that we can consider. So are we passionate about it? Well, you know, like I said before, it's not essential, but it is a good thing to be very keen on the niche that you're selling products for. And can you advertise it on Facebook? And that's something we will look at a little bit later to do with Facebook advertising. But obviously, Facebook has some quite strong restrictions about what you can and cannot advertise. And I'll give you just an example. So with my clothing store, because of the type of clothing it is and the age group I target, some of the tops, say, might be like crop tops or whatever. So I can't use images that have perhaps too much tummy showing, you know, a young woman in a crop top, and maybe she's got a tattoo on her arm. Facebook doesn't like that. So that kind of product I can't advertise on Facebook, because Facebook has strong policies, that are real kind of blanket policies. And then there'll be other kind of products that you can't advertise, anything that may be to do with firearms, for example, but it's unlikely that anybody will be selling that. But basically, you know, Facebook has some very stringent rules around what you can and cannot advertise on its platform. And so is it high risk? So the reason I put that in there is because I tend to stay away from products that may be applied to the skin, because unless, you know, I'm absolutely sure of what the ingredients are. I'm a vegan, but you don't want to risk giving anything, selling any product to someone where there might be a risk that it's actually, that it might cause a reaction. And then Google Trends. Now, that's just something we will look at shortly, but I would just say to start with, you know, if it showed an upward trend on Google, then that's a positive. But just think, you don't have to tick every single box here. You just don't. But these ones in green are the ones that we really focused on when we were in the last part of our video. So that's what we're going to be using. That's what we're going to sort of go along and fill in. I have got some ideas here which I've already gone through, where I found different ideas. Some of these, ultimately, this is kind of brainstorming. It's not something that's set in stone. It's just giving me an idea of what products I believe are trending according to the websites and the data, and what may well form the basis of the niche for my store. So that's what we're going to be working with our product research spreadsheet. So here we are on the Amazon bestseller list. Now, I got to this by just Googling Amazon bestsellers. Of course, I'm in the UK, so it's taken me to .co.uk. But I will also put the link in the description for this video as well, so that you're able to access it quickly. So we're on the Amazon bestseller section. Now, what we're really looking for here is categories that we maybe know something about and that we're interested in. So, for example, I won't be selling products in DIY and tools, because that's just not something that I know anything about. If we move down, there may well be sort of sports and outdoors. I'm not really a sporty person, so that's not something that I would focus on. I also don't know very much about automotives, other than what they look like. It's an interesting one. They've got masks up here. So I'm not going to be selling any automotive related products that I find on AliExpress, because they're not going to be, if you can see here, all the automotive parts, accessories, nothing like that is going to be interesting for me. So I won't be doing anything like that. I do enjoy my my vegan cooking. So let's say, for example, we're going to look at home and kitchen, and yours might be completely different. You may be interested in jewelry, or shoes and bags. Pet supplies is also a very interesting one. Beauty and baby products. As long as these you try and stay away from anything that could potentially have cause allergic reactions in terms of the ingredients or products, then I would say that's a good one to go. Of course, a lot of people love their gardening, their outdoors. So there may be, kind of little items within these categories that you wouldn't necessarily find elsewhere very easily that are going to work for your store. But let's just go quite generically into home and kitchen. Now, obviously, I want to look at kitchen specifically. I'm not looking at the home side, although home may be something that you're interested in. So I could think, well, okay, I don't want to look at appliances. Let's go at cooking and dining. Let's see what we've got, cooking and dining. So, okay, so we've got some, interesting bestsellers here. Of course, sometimes it might be seasonal, that you may find certain items are more popular than others. We've got party kits there, which I'm not necessarily going to sell. And what you do want to make sure is that you stay away from, so you don't want to start selling things like kettles, because you might start competing with people like Wayfair, as well as Amazon, of course. So anything that's kind of brand named, you don't want to be selling. What you're really looking for, because bear in mind, these are the best sellers. They've got hot new releases in cooking and dining, most wished for. So let's have a look at most wished for and see what we've got. So bottles, we know these reusable bottles are incredibly popular. Now, the only thing is, you can buy them quite widely in stores. So I would probably tend to stay away from those, even though I know that on AliExpress, where we're going to get our products, they're very, they've got some amazing designs, but I do think it's a little bit too saturated, and probably not something that I would want to sell in my store. Now, here on the other hand, even though there are quite a lot of metal straws around, I do like this. So if you were thinking, for example, that you'd like to have maybe a store with reusable items and become involved in that trend for having reusable items, even straws instead of plastic, then this might be quite a nice one to look at. We also, like I said, they've got their best sellers and the most wished for. These measuring spoons are quite nice. Pots, again, that's very easy to find those. They have some straws here which aren't multicolored. Those are just a sort of a plain color. Various sort of stackable kitchenware. More reusable straws, as you can see, they're obviously very popular, and relatively good price as well. So let's say, for example, well, we like the straws. I quite like these ones up here. So these are ultra long rainbow straws. So let's just have a little look. Okay, so these are rather nice. These are definitely rather attractive. So they've kind of ticked the box. They're in the sort of the bestseller and most wished for product. They're also a good price. So they're under our our $25. And yeah, I think that those and of course that is something which I love. I love anything that's eco-friendly. I enjoy anything that's kind of kitchen related that is easy. So it's a free scrub, but easy to clean. That's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, and there are different options here, so you don't necessarily have to take these ones. So what I would do with that is I would take this product, for example, and I'm not saying this is set in stone, this is just an example. So I would take this, say, okay, I'm going to put this in my spreadsheet. So there we go. So we're back in our product research spreadsheet. So what we'll do, so if we just call them reusable metal drawers. Okay, and the source we saw was Amazon. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through this whole exercise for 20 products. And it doesn't matter if you have more products, to be honest. I'm just trying to keep it manageable. If you want to keep going, that's fine. Because this is the whole point of this exercise, to try and narrow down what we're going to put in our store to start off with, or what niche we're going to settle on, and what kind of products. So is it hard to find in stores? Well, I haven't actually seen any in any local stores. Yes, they're on Amazon, but I haven't seen any just in my regular store. So I'm going to put a no for that. Is it hard to guess the price? I think so. I can't remember what they were. I think they were about £5, weren't they? So we'll say it's pretty hard. I mean, I don't think it's that straight. Oh, sorry, it's hard to find in stores. Gosh, what am I saying? Yes, it is hard to find in stores. It's hard to get the price. Yes. Does it solve a problem? Yes, it does. You know, people want reusable stuff. And they're also rainbow, so they're attractive. Can it be purchased without much research? I would say yes, and it's definitely less than $25. Am I passionate about it? Well, I can't say I'm passionate about straws as such, but the whole idea of using those. I can advertise it on Facebook. It's not high risk. I'm not sure if it's trending or not, but Amazon says it's on its most wished for. So I've ticked a lot of boxes here, which is absolutely great. So that's our first product that we've got on there. Let's see if we can find something else. So here I'm back in my best sellers for my kitchen products, and I'm looking at kitchen storage and organization. And there's some things which I'm not going to start selling bins or even flasks or thermos flasks. Like I said, anything with brand names, very recognizable brand names. It's going to be difficult because, if you don't want to be trying to sell something that's unbranded when people are going to just buy a well-known brand version of the same product. So let's go back here now. Joseph kind of rings a bell, but I do like these organizers, and sometimes I find it very hard to find anything which other than a kind of a bland old wooden one or a basic plastic one. But I quite like this. I like the way that you can store cutlery here as well. So let's have a look at this. Okay, so it's a utensil and gadget organizer. It's quite neat and compact. I've not seen anything that sort of looks like that. Oh, and that's just the cutlery organizer itself, which is quite interesting. That's £12. Okay, let's have a look. So go back to the cutlery and utensil organizer. So that is jumping around a lot, this, isn't it? That is £26 for that whole organizer, which is okay. I mean, we've said $25. It is still, yes, maybe a teeny bit pricey, but it's I still like this idea. So let's go down, have a look. What I also like is that there's a video. So what you're also looking for is the potential to make a nice little video. So if you're going to do an ad on Facebook, for example, if you can create your own little video, or if you could look for the product on AliExpress and they have a video, then that really is very, kind of very useful. Because what you might find is that you think, well, I'm actually going to order one of these myself, just one, just to see what it's like. And then you could create a video with it. Obviously, you don't want to do that for every product you've got because you don't want to be spending a lot of money. But, for me, this is something that I would use anyway. So I'd be more than happy to buy this, to put it in my drawer. And then I could actually also take some additional product pictures if I wanted, or create a little post for Facebook or something. But that's not necessary. Obviously, we want to work with as little investment as possible, but there's some good images, so I like that. And like I said, there's this video here, which if you find the same kind of product on AliExpress, then that's you know, very useful. It's quite nice, neat little video. Okay, so I like that one, and that was his £26 on the cutlery organizer. Oh, there's a large cutlery organizer. Okay, and that was not available actually. That's interesting. So then there's a small one. So let's just put this in for now, because we know it's not under $25. Or you could say £25 if you want, but it's not far off. It's not like it's massively expensive. So let's put this one into our spreadsheet. Okay, so we're back in our spreadsheet. So what we're going to do is we're going to put, we're going to say cutlery and utensil drawer or organizer, isn't it? Okay, and that also was on Amazon. Is it hard to find in stores? Well, maybe not. We'll put no for that. Is it hard to guess the price? Yeah, I mean, I actually wasn't quite sure. I'm going to put yes. You may disagree, but does it solve a problem? Yes, it does. Can it be purchased without much research? Probably. Is it less than $25? No. Am I passionate about it? Yes. So then you get the idea. So what we're going, yes, I can advertise it on Facebook. No, it's not high risk. The high engagement, we'll leave that just for now because that's more Facebook orientated. So as I said before, we don't have to tick every single box for this, but we're just trying to get an idea. So, I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole spreadsheet finding the 20 products, but you can just get the idea of what we're looking for on Amazon and how we're going to be filling this spreadsheet in. So the next place we are going to look for products, just to get some ideas, is wish.com. Now, usually Wish just likes you to sign up and just create a free account. When you go to Wish, if you haven't got one of those already, then just do that. I think they just like to send you offers by email, which you can opt into if you so desire. So what we'll do is just take a look at what products here can give us some inspiration and we can put on our spreadsheet. And remember, we're not going to take all of these products. We're just looking for ideas. Now, I've thought about already that I like the kind of the kitchen theme. It may well be that you like the makeup and beauty theme. All the different categories here you can go through, but I would actually say generally I try to stay away from shoes because those are the kinds of items that can be easily returned if people aren't able to get the right sizing, especially as we're going to be bringing our shoes over from China. Sometimes the conversions of the sizes, whether it's between US and UK, European and Asian sizes, can sometimes be confusing for people. And even though in my store Mercury Girl I do have some shoes, my collection is very, very limited and I don't sell a lot of footwear at all. By far that's probably the least kind of popular item that's in my store, because I think people generally do like to try their shoes on. So you don't want to be ending up doing a lot of returns. So try and stay away from shoes. The same can sometimes apply to clothing and fashion, although that's not entirely, it's not quite as difficult or challenging as it is with shoes. So as you can usually get sort of much more clarity on the sizing when you're selling clothing, and it's less risky. So let's just have a little look. So it says popular here, so we're in popular already. So let's just take a look and see what's actually popular. Okay, well, those are quite interesting, but that's not something I'm necessarily going to sell. This is quite nice. Obviously that fits in with my kitchen theme. And remember, at this stage, we're not looking for anything which, we're not worried about choosing our specific products now. We're just trying to get some ideas. These kind of little egg things are quite nice. Obviously, if you're going into the beauty kind of area, then you may want to, I know that there are a lot of these kinds of items on AliExpress. And you may well say, well, why on earth would anybody get them from me, from my store, when they are so cheaply available on Wish? Now, don't forget that, Wish has got a ton of stuff on there. And what you're trying to do is develop a niche store. You're developing a brand that has got a range of products within a niche. And that is what you're going to be launching on social media. That's what you're going to be kind of branding. So people will then come to trust you as somebody who provides products within a certain niche. So it's not like we've said we're not going down the general store route of selling absolutely everything. You know, we don't want to be another wish.com. We want to be niche so that people can come and find things that are very specific, and along the way there may be some impulse buys in there as well, which is obviously what we're trying to look out for too. So this is just showing all the sort of the popular products that are going on. I quite like that there. I've not seen that before at all. You know, there's lots of different things. So let's just pick something just to get the ball rolling. Let's see, that's an interesting item there. I've not seen one of those before. Baby clothing is a very popular and an eternally popular niche, I have to say. Oh, that's quite good. I quite like this shredder here. That's a nice little tidy item there. This shredder, I think that would probably be quite hard to guess what the price of that was, but I rather like that. So let's just take a look, because that's a very useful item. It solves a problem, doesn't it? It's a shredder, it's a peeler, it's a grater, it's got multiple. I have seen these before, but I've not seen one that's kind of multi-function. And also don't forget that even if you put a product in your store, the joy of dropshipping is that even if you put something in your store, you actually haven't spent any money on this. You've not gone out and had to buy 1,000 or 500 of them. You've simply brought in the descriptions of the products, and you just put it on your storefront. If you find that actually that item isn't as popular as you thought it would be, then you can just, you know, stop selling it, and you can get an alternative and import the details of an alternative product in your store. So this is the joy of dropshipping, is there's a real flexibility there that enables you to just kind of switch around the products that you're selling depending on how popular they may be. So this is, I rather like this. I think this is something that that may well just be kind of an impulse buy. It's originally £6. I wouldn't have known necessarily. I would have thought maybe it would be anything from, you know, kind of £7 or £8 upwards. So I rather like that. So what shall we call that? We'll put that on our spreadsheet. So this is shredder peeler, and it's £4.69. So let's go ahead and add that to our spreadsheet. So here we are back in the spreadsheet. So we can call it a grater shredder, and it was on Wish. Is it hard to find in stores? Maybe not. Maybe not. I haven't seen anything with that sort of multifunctional element, but then I guess maybe if you went to a kind of a kitchen store, they may well have something like that. But I'll put yes, because I haven't seen anything that's multifunction like that. Is it hard to guess the price? Well, I was kind of close, wasn't I? So I would say it's maybe not that hard to guess the price. It does solve a problem. It can be purchased without much research, and it's less than 25. Again, these are the categories of focusing mainly on. Am I passionate about it? I could say, well, you know, I'm excited about it. I wouldn't say I'm overly passionate about it, but of course it falls into this kind of category that I'm interested in. And then, yes, I can advertise it on Facebook. Whether or not I would advertise it on Facebook, I'm not too sure. It might be more something I would advertise on Instagram. It's obviously not high risk. I don't know if it's trending at this point because we haven't checked Google Trends. Okay, so that's the grater and the shredder that I've put there on Wish. But I want to go back to Wish because I've got another idea of what other related products I could put in this store. So here we are back in Wish, and I like the idea of looking at reusable items because obviously this is a very big trend, and isn't one that's going to suddenly disappear. So I like the idea of reusable items. It may well be that I decide that my store is going to focus more on the whole reusable item selection, and then I can break it down into the categories, which may be, kitchen reusables, child and baby reusables, beauty reusables, that kind of. It may, lifestyle sort of reusables. So I could actually have, reusables as a niche, which would work really well. So let's have a look. So we've got reusable here. Let's just type reusable in there and let's just search. Okay, so we've got these cloth items. We've got these bags here. I mean, they're incredibly cheap. There's some reusable cutlery here. See, there's some reusable makeup remover pads and washable remover pads, which are quite interesting. I quite like those. They're actually kind of a little bit more expensive than I thought they would be, but those are bamboo makeup remover pads. I really like those, and I don't think that you would immediately guess the price. They're chemical free. I definitely like those. So let's put those in our spreadsheet because I like those as a reusable item. So washable or reusable makeup remover pads. Okay, so we're back here on our spreadsheet. So let's just say reusable, reusable makeup pads. We'll just say reusable makeup pads. Those were on Wish. It's hard to find these stores. Yes, I haven't seen them. Is it hard to guess the price? I would say yes, it's something that you wouldn't necessarily solve a problem. Yes, because let's face it, I mean, we use a lot of cotton pads, cotton wool pads. I think you would purchase it without much. I know we've got a lot of yeses here, but and it is less than £25. And then you can I'm passionate about it, yes, because I love reusable items. I can put them on Facebook. It's not high risk. So there we go. Okay, so let's just see if we can find one more thing on Wish before we move on. Okay, so here we are, we're back on Wish. Now, I was just looking, obviously we were looking at reusables, but it gave me the option to choose eco-friendly items. So I thought I would have a little look through there. I did find these bamboo toothbrushes. I like those very much. Those are very popular. But what I did find here as well were these beeswax food wraps. Now, I've actually tried some of these myself. I did buy them on Amazon, but I think it's something that people don't necessarily know about and wouldn't necessarily set out to buy if they were looking specifically on Amazon. And that's kind of the thing you want as well, is people to say, oh, wow, I didn't know they existed. And then just, just kind of buy them almost on impulse. So let's have a look at the beeswax food wraps. I think they're great. So they're reusable, they're non-toxic, they're organic. Absolutely perfect. So let's put those in our spreadsheets. So here we are back in the spreadsheet, and I'm going to put the reusable beeswax wraps, and I saw those on Wish. I haven't seen them in stores. I think it is pretty hard to guess the price because they're organic. Sometimes those things tend to be expensive. Does solve a problem because I use a lot of tin foil. I hate using all that tin foil, or you might put them in a plastic bag or whatever. And also for children when they go for lunches, think about mums, making school lunches. Having a reusable beeswax wrap, I think, is a great idea. I don't know. I mean, you might research them. I'm unsure about that. But you can purchase it without much research. People may research, but yeah, you can just purchase them there on the spot. Obviously, I am passionate about them because I love all things reusable and vegan and so on. It's not high risk. It probably is trending. I can probably guess even without doing any further investigation, that is. So we're not going to look on Wish anymore, but you get the idea. This is how we're trying to build up this picture of our potential products. products that could be really, really interesting for our store. Okay, so the next place I'm going to look is Google Trends. So let's go to Google Trends. Oops, if I can spell it correctly. Let's have a look. So let's find Google Trends. Here we go. And here we are on Google Trends. Just make a note of that link. Now it does say GOUS, which we can actually change that. So I'm going to do it from the UK, and the results may come up slightly differently because I'm doing a UK search instead of a US search. So what Google Trends really does, it just means that you enter a search term or a topic, and it will give you basically an idea of how that topic is trending, say, over the past 12 months. So if we take one of the items, for example, that we were looking at. Now, if you remember, we were actually looking at our, let's go back to our spreadsheet and let's just see what we've got. So we're looking at beeswax wraps, makeup pads, etc. So we could say, okay, let's look at some metal straws just to see what it's saying about metal straws. So let's go back in. So if we just put metal straws. So we're doing this because we just want to have an idea of whether this product is actually trending or not. So in the UK, over the past 12 months, now we can see that a year ago it was actually quite high, but it has gradually declined. It kind of hit rock bottom here. It has been a little bit variable. It seemed to be trending last year, but it has actually kind of gone down a little bit. So that might kind of mean to us, well, actually, do we want to necessarily have that in our store? But we don't need to decide anything just yet, because even when we're at the stage of importing the products into our store, we can still make decisions at that point. We don't have to have everything set in stone right here. So it'll give you the interest per sub region. Now, what is actually more important is actually these related areas here. So related queries, metal straws, Asda, Amazon, Star Metal Straws. Okay, I don't want anything that's kind of particularly got a brand name attached to it because I want to develop my own brand. Then it has some interesting other topics here. But let's see. So what's Hydro Flask? Well, what does that tell us? Let's have a little look. So again, this has actually gone down quite a bit. So it was sort of peaking then, and it seems to be more, it's quite sort of plateaued here, but it has taken a bit of a downward trend. And this is actually showing you the amount of search terms in that particular period, or rather the amount of searches in that particular period. So let's just go down. So people are looking at Visco Girl, Hydro Flasks. So let's try, there we go, drinking straw as a topic. Okay, so drinking straw as a topic. Let's see how that's now. Okay, so that's interesting because it has actually, even though again it was peaking last year and it has kind of dipped here, but of course now we're kind of in the summer months. That is actually increasing again. So maybe we could look at other types of drinking straws. I know that there's been a trend of pasta drinking straws, which are made out of pasta, which sounds quite an interesting concept. So, and up in Scotland, they seem to be the most popular. So, of course, we could actually change that. So, say, for example, we decided we were going to look in the United States. Let's just see what it says. That data in the States. So kind of pretty steady, really, kind of pretty steady, similar kind of picture. But this is just giving us some very kind of interesting data to take a look at. So let's maybe have a look at a different search term and see what that brings up. So we're just going to stick with the States for the moment. Don't forget, I mean, the region isn't the most important thing, actually, because when you're a drop shipper, you can actually sell from anywhere to anyone. So ultimately, it's irrelevant, actually, where you are or where your target audience is, because you are shipping all over the world. So anyway, so here we go. So let's look at kitchen organizer, because that was one of the things we had in our spreadsheet, was like a utensil sort of cutlery organizer. I've used a Z or a Z because that will probably be recognized more easily in Google. So I put kitchen organizer and we've hit search, and what have we got here? So kitchen organizer as a search term. Let's see what happens. Okay, so let's go down. So this is interesting because first of all, it seems to have a nice kind of, it's not sort of hit rock bottom down here. The data is not quite complete here, but it looks like it's kind of trending upwards. So as you can see, it just dipped slightly there, but it has actually been kind of trending back upwards again. So that's actually a good indication for us. If we go down, we see, oh, okay, related queries. So this is very interesting. And don't worry about the fact that there's Wayfair here, because yes, you could argue, well, I may be competing with Wayfair, but ultimately, you're going to be branding your store. So there is always going to be some kind of competition. Obviously, Wayfair is an online store as well. So you can actually almost use Wayfair as well as potentially somewhere where you could look for products. You could use that as part of your product search and product research. So let's have a look. I like Undersink organizers. Okay, that's kind of, seems like that's getting a lot of attention. So if we go and see what it says here. Okay, wow, okay. So that has been fairly kind of steady, not particularly, kind of not up here in terms of the number of queries and searches, but it is going up. If that trend continues, it's expected to go up. So that is very interesting. Expandable under kitchen sink organizer. Okay, so what should we do next? Let's have a think what we should do for under sink organizers. What I would normally do is go and have a look, because I'm thinking, well, what do they look like? So let's just hop over and open a new tab, and let's look for some Undersink organizers. So here we go. So I've got Undersink Storage. Let's try organizer. Let's just see what comes up. Okay, now I would normally look at images because I'm not looking to add any from here right now, but I just would like to see what there is. You see, and also you can always search these related categories here, and this is just all going to give you lots of ideas. So this is kind of what Wayfair's got one. Etsy have them. Remember I said about looking on Etsy for for ideas as well. There's one on Wish, which is £20. There's Amazon. Okay, so I quite like this idea actually. I do. It would make a nice addition potentially to my kitchen or my home decor store. So what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll put that in my spreadsheet. Okay, so I'm in my spreadsheet again. Undersink organizer. I'm spelling it with an S because I'm British, and I found that on Google Trends. Is it hard to find these stores? Probably not. I mean, you can find it online quite easily. I think it's quite hard to guess the price because there seems to be like a massive range, anything from sort of £8 to £70. It does solve a problem. I think it probably can be purchased without much research. It's not as if you need to kind of go and find out what these kinds of items do. Can be less than that amount of money. I wouldn't say I'm passionate about it, but obviously it fits within my my kind of genre. I probably wouldn't advertise it on Facebook, but yes, I can. It's not high risk and it's trending. So again, so what I would recommend is that you go back all the products, and you may have a much longer list than I have. I'm just giving you some examples. I would say all of these products that you start putting into your list, your kind of brainstorming list. Just go and do these searches on Google Trends. Maybe best search under the United States as well as your own country, just to see if you can see the difference, and then you can start building up the data in your product research spreadsheet. So now here we are. We're going to take a look at Sell the Trend, which is one of the paid paid applications or paid piece of software that you can use to potentially find winning products. There are others. There's one called Ecom Hunt, for example. There's one called Dropship Guru, I think. And all of these have paid subscription plans that you can use for doing research on your stores. They do offer free trials, so you could actually just use it for the sake of the trial and then cancel your subscription, so you don't have to keep paying, because I think it is about $25 or $30 a month. So you may not necessarily want to commit to that, which is totally understandable. So Seller Trend, I will put the link in the description for the video as well. So let's go ahead and log in to my dashboard. So here we are back in the Sell the Trend dashboard, and we're just going to use this just to look at some hot and winning products. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to use this. I would actually say that, you know, with a combination of Google Trends and looking at Etsy and Amazon and so on, that you're actually going to have all the research at your fingertips that you're going to need. Now, you see, Sell the Trend actually has its own product or its own system for bringing products into your store from AliExpress, the marketplace where we're going to be finding our products. I don't use Sell the Trend, and that's not what my training course is based on. I use Oberlo, which is incredibly well established, and also the Oberlo YouTube channel has absolutely fantastic amounts of training on there. It has a big following. Sell the Trend is less well known, but if you look here at Nexus, it will give you hot and trending products, and I do find this quite useful because it is interesting just to see what other trending products are on other websites. So let's have a look. So if we go to hot products, you'll be able to see if you do take a trial, and like I said, I wouldn't recommend keeping that trial on for longer. We also have, let's have a look, hot products. Now this is very interesting, isn't it, because there are some necklaces here, toilet brush, interestingly, soap dispenser and caddy. Those would be quite nice for my kitchen store. But also they do give you the chance to look at that product on AliExpress, on Amazon, or see if it's actually on Facebook. It will give you, you know, that one's only had one order. So even though it's such a hot product, it hasn't been ordered a huge amount of times. So this one is actually quite interesting. This is actually selling on four stores at the moment. It says they're selling on 4 popular stores. The silicone kitchenware, non-stick cooking tools. Been a lot of orders. I mean, that does mean it is quite popular. It may well be selling in a lot of stores already, as we've seen there. That doesn't mean we should necessarily exclude it, because it's clearly been selling very well and is clearly a popular product. And as you're looking through this, you might find other things that you actually like. You may find that you're actually, you know, very keen on the jewelry side niche. Well, this is selling on 11 popular stores, so that's actually, and there's not a lot of order data available here. There's a toy cleanup and storage container, which you know, if you're going in for sort of home items and storage items, that might be quite useful. Beeswax and so on. So this is just looking at some sort of hot products. If you're interested in the pet products niche, that's on 3 popular stores. Again, there isn't any data on that. So yes, handbags. I had a handbag store once. I did find that quite a tricky niche to be in, because I don't think bags are not exactly impulse purchases, so I don't necessarily recommend it. But what I did like was, let's go back up to our silicone kitchenware. So that's something which I can obviously put in my spreadsheet. That's actually $41.99. So it's quite a good price. It's quite a good price, but I wouldn't necessarily be able to guess that product price off the top of my head. So it is a trending product. It is selling on other stores, but it's not selling on a huge amount of stores. So that may well be something you know, very, very interesting. So let's just pop across and put that in our spreadsheet. So it's a silicone kitchenware. So it is, I think it was 12 piece, wasn't it? Silicone kitchen utensils. and we found those on Sell the Trend. I don't think it's probably that hard to find in stores. I think it's kind of hard to guess the price. It does solve a problem, and they're silicone as well, so they're quite nice. It can be purchased without much research. That one wasn't less than $25, so maybe it's a little bit high. I would say that I rather love it. I can advertise them on Facebook. It's not high risk. We don't know for certain that it's trending on Google Trends, but obviously, certainly, it's popular and selling well on Sell the Trend. And I've spelled silicone incorrectly there, and I think it's silicone, is it? Silicone kitchen. Oops, a daisy. This is the joy of trying to talk and type. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that for the time being. So let's just go back to Sell the Trend. What you could also do is look at on the rise products, because that means that they're potentially, you know, they're kind of up and coming products. But then, I mean, obviously, couch covers. You know, if you've got a store for sort of home items, data cables. You see, I mean, I'm not particularly interested in selling those kinds of phone accessories. I like phone cases, but that wouldn't really be for me. Pet water cups, you know, if you're into fitness and so on, that could be quite a good one to put in there. So you get the idea. You get the idea of what you can look for. You can also look at trending products. And if you want to narrow it down, of course, you can go. So I could say, well, actually, I kind of like my home and garden. Let's just see what they say in the home and garden. Then you can obviously narrow it down even further if you would like, you know, to bathroom or kitchen accessories. So obviously, I mean, you've got to think about as well the time of year and think about seasonal or seasonality as well. I know people who have, you know, sort of children's stores and have these lovely, you know, kind of lamps. Those are very popular. And so on. So I can kind of go down cushions. I do quite like humidifiers. I know they're not necessarily, if you can see, they're doing very well. So I like these humidifiers and diffusers. I did see some somewhere else in the other category, but I quite like that. I mean, it's selling on quite a few stores, but I could actually have that within my, you know, within my kind of home products store. So I do like that. It's a good price as well. It's obviously popular, been a lot of orders. The product cost here is that's how much it's going to cost you if you go and look on AliExpress and your selling price. So you kind of pretty much double. So as long as the shipping costs aren't too prohibitive, then you could have a decent margin from that product. They have some chopsticks here. Vegetable cutters. We know vegetable cutters seem to do quite well, but I did like this diffuser. So let me pop this electric humidifier and this diffuser. Let's have a look. Humidifier and diffuse. It was an essential oil diffuser. I found that on Sell the Trend. Is it hard to find in stores? I haven't seen any in stores. Probably it will be, but I think is it hard to guess the price? Yes, because they probably vary quite a bit. It does solve a problem. I think you might need a bit of research, but you probably don't need, it's not like if you're buying a phone or a gadget or something where you might need to do a lot of research. And for that reason, I think unless you're super interested in gadgets and you can kind of build a whole blog and a brand around gadgets, I would say tend to kind of stay away, because then you end up competing quite heavily with Amazon, unless you're very knowledgeable in a certain niche of gadgets, and then you can obviously provide a lot of value to your audience. It is less than, let's have a look, it is less. I do love them, certainly need them for my home. Can advertise on Facebook. That's a nice one for a Facebook ad. It's not high risk. I don't know if it's trending, so that's one that I need to check out. So you get the idea. This is what we're trying to build up. You know, see what. Obviously, I've got a little kitchen home items here, but you could find something else during your search that you find is trending. Okay, so here we are on Facebook, and what we're going to do is we're going to use Facebook to find some high-performing ads. The reason why we want to find these high-performing ads is because if a dropshipper is paying quite a bit of money, then they will be getting a significant amount of views on their Facebook ads. So we're going to look for ads that have got over 100,000 views, because in order to get those kinds of views, store owners are spending money, and they're spending money in all likelihood because their stores are performing well, or their products are performing well. Now, that's not obviously a given in each case, but nonetheless, we want to look at, those kinds of ads that are getting a lot of attention on Facebook. And so we can use the product research we've gathered so far, and then we can put that all together and start getting ideas for what is working with Facebook ads. Now, we're not necessarily going to learn about Facebook ads just yet. That's when we get more to the launch side of the program. But it's very important to sort of understand where Facebook ads fit into the whole drop shipping picture. Some people don't use a lot of Facebook ads. Some people spend a very minimal amount on Facebook ads. People I know who have these one product drop shipping stores that we talked about in our previous videos. Some people do tend to pour quite a high amount of money into Facebook ads, because the brand is the store, it's the product, it's all one thing. So they tend to use Facebook as a really great source of getting sales. So what I'm going to do is look for, let's say reusable, because I was kind of getting sort of excited about the whole idea of reusable things like reusable beeswax wraps, reusable straws, etc. So let's go reusable, and I'm going to use a term 50 off, because dropshippers will never just say drop shipping in their ads. They will use things like 50% off or limited stock, or they will use terms like that to kind of entice people to click. So let's have a look. So 50 off. Now we want to look at videos, because videos always perform much better on Facebook, and we may well be able to source products from AliExpress that also have a video, especially if it's in maybe it could either be a gadget niche or home garden niche, kitchen niche, pet products. They often have videos showing how to use a particular product. So let's go to videos, because that's where we're going to find the information that we want. And I'm going to go to this month. I don't need to go down to this week, but I'm going to look, I want recent videos. I don't want videos that are from, like 6 months, a year, 2 years ago. I want to look at recent videos. So let's look at some recent videos. Okay. I like this one. That's May 22nd, May 25th. You see this here that says 50% off free shipping. That kind of gives me a bit of a drop shipping feel there, especially where it says free shipping. 50% off, best barbecue grill mats ever. So I decided to try another search, but stick with my reusable aspect. So I put reusable free shipping, because that's often something that comes up with dropshippers when they say free worldwide shipping. And we will talk about the shipping aspects later on in the program. You can also offer free worldwide shipping without necessarily impacting your own margins and your own bottom line, but we'll talk about that later in the program. So I found this one that didn't actually come up when I was searching before, but I thought it looked quite interesting. So it said a huge discount plus free worldwide shipping. Keep your food fresh. It's had over 300,000 views. It's in May, so I don't know why that didn't come up, but anyway. So I decided to take a look at this one, and I thought, oh, I actually quite like this. Now these are great. I mean, I love these. Gosh, they solve such a problem. I would go and buy some of these right now, actually, because they're absolutely fantastic. And those are the kind of thing that, if they were in your store, people would just buy them just like that. So let's just have a look. So now we're going to do a neat little trick that will help us see more products like this. So we're going to follow the link. Reusable silicone lids. This, I mean, I've seen these products before. I've seen them on Wish. I've seen them around, so it may well be they're obviously very popular. They're very eco-friendly. they've got a good price there. I would imagine they're making a good, decent margin on these. So what I'm going to do, so I want Facebook to show me more of these kinds of ads. So I'm going to go through the process as if I was going to buy this product, and then Facebook will recognize that it's picking up that whole, it's tracking that whole process. So I've just put them in my cart, or one set of 6 pieces, and then I'm just going to go as if I'm checking out. I'm going to click on checkout, and this is as far as I'm going to go, because I'm not obviously going to go all the way through and check out, but I would put my contact information and so on, and then go through the checkout process, go through to shipping, etc. So at this point, Facebook has tracked that I've gone to this website and put it in my cart and so on. So it's actually going to now be kind of tricked into believing that this is the kind of product that I'm going to buy. So for me, for my research purposes and for other products that I might want to put in my store in the future, I'm going to get shown these kinds of ads, because obviously I would imagine that this website's got its Facebook pixel on there. And so we will learn a lot more about Facebook ads in later lessons, but for now this is just what I wanted to do for the purpose of showing you that process. So we've done that. So that's basically what I wanted you to what I wanted to show you about looking for products on Facebook, looking for the types of ads that are performing well. And you know that the 100k views is not set in stone, but you do want a decent amount of views, because you do want to know that yes, people, you know, the store owners have paid to get a large amount of views, but that sort of indicates that they're putting money into it, and these are products that obviously are kind of taking off and going well. So let's go back to the spreadsheet and just put reusable silicone food lids, and we saw that in Facebook, and I think it was reusable free shipping, wasn't it? So I put that in there just to remind me. Is it hard to find in stores? Well, I mean, it may well be in stores. I haven't seen those in stores, I'll be honest, but then I haven't been really looking for them until now, and actually that's a good indication. Hard to guess the price, probably not particularly. So I'll put a note for that, even though I'm actually kind of undivided. Does definitely solve a problem. That's for a big problem for me. I'm always putting, you know, bits of, you know, kind of any remaining food into the fridge, or something that I've opened and have only half used. And it's, you know, I'm always looking for lids to go with pots. So for me, that's a massive problem. Can it be purchased without much research? Yes. And I believe, yes, they were less than that. So the other categories, like we said, we don't have to fill those in every time. So there we go. So we've got nine products. By all means, you know, you could actually widen your search and put a wider variety of products in there, covering different niches. If you're not quite sure at this stage what niche you are interested in. But there's nothing wrong with actually putting quite a wide range of products in there before we go to the point of kind of narrowing down what products we actually do want to have in our store. And part of what we're going to do next, as we're setting up the store, and bearing in mind the store can be set up without you necessarily knowing straight away what products are going in there, because part of our store setup and installing the relevant app called Obolo, which sits between your Shopify storefront and AliExpress. We're going to be using that as well as AliExpress to also do more research on our products. Don't underestimate the time you need to spend on this part of the process. It's really important that you do this, because starting out on the right foot, even though you can tweak obviously as you go along, I've had to do that many a time over the years I've been in e-commerce and drop shipping. But what you really don't want is to be wasting too much valuable time on completely inappropriate products that are just not going to be what the market is looking for. So that's where we're going to leave this for now. I'll leave you with the spreadsheet, and I will see you on the next video, where we're going to start looking at how to set up our store, our Shopify store itself.